Hey folks, welcome back to Jerome Bee Farm and Homestead. It is Monday, February 27th, 2023, and we're getting back down here in the hives. I haven't had weather cooperation. I didn't get anything done this last weekend. That's why there was no video. This was going to come out a little later. And first of all, I want to thank all the people that welcomed me back, because it had been a while and it's nice to be missed. I appreciate all the comments. But today, well, let me talk about the weather. So, yeah, last night, Sunday night, Oklahoma set a record for most tornadoes in one day in February. And it was, I think, 15 tornadoes, separate ones. And the old record was 6. And I think that record was set in 2009. But man, it was crazy. There was a squall line that came across all of Oklahoma. And it's not like there were thunderstorm cells. It was just one big line, and the tornadoes were just popping out of that thing all up and down all across Oklahoma. So there was like a 70-mile-an-hour gust front that came with it, which fortunately, when it got to us here in Newcastle, the winds didn't kick up real high. I had a lot of things blown around, but you could hear the wind way up in the atmosphere. It was just howling up there. I'd never heard anything like that before in my life. It was a freaky sounding storm, just put it that way. And there was a lot of damage on east of us in the town of Norman and on to Shawnee, and there was some to the north as well in Oklahoma City. So yeah, sorry to hear some people had some damage. We just had some minor stuff blow around, no big deal. A lost Amazon package. Big deal. So anyway, with that, today I'm gonna get into these hives, do as much as I can till sunset, and continue going through our inspections. Today I'm going to highlight and try to do a hive rotation. And the reason we do that is when you're running a 2-deep brood frame system, the bees will overwinter, work their way up into the top deep and start working on the honey up there. So over winter, that top deep is full of honey, and that's their stores to get through winter. Some people do it with a single deep, some do it with 2 deeps. I've tried both ways. I tried some single deeps last year and had good success, but I did have to feed a little more than normal. But with a 2-deep system, after the bees work their way up into the top, the bottom is basically empty. It's empty comb, and you want to switch them around. But if the brood chamber is part in the top and part in the bottom, you don't want to break the brood chamber in 2 and move that brood down low. What you can do is pull out a frame or 2 from the bottom if there is some brood and bring it on up top. So I do that occasionally. So that's what we call brood box rotation. So let's get in here and see what we find. And I only got through 6 hives the last inspection I played out. So when you do your first spring inspections, you're going through and you're pulling out every frame and you're scraping off propolis and getting the frames to where they fit back in there nice. And it just takes a long time, a lot of bending over. It's hard on the back. It is for me anyway. But hopefully I can get 2 or 3 done before the sun starts setting. Let's get going. Okay, I'm going to start out here on hive number 6. And I just saw some bees going in the entrance there with some yellow pollen. And the bees are not on my pollen sub feeders. There's a few there, but not very many. So I'm suspecting that yellow pollen is coming in from somewhere else. So let's get in here, see if this one's eligible to rotate. With the looks of the sun, I'm not going to get maybe 2 done. This hive doesn't have a notch here, so I have this shim. It's stuck in here right now, but it'll come out. It has the notch in it right here for the top entrance. Boy, there's a lot of propolis in here. This hive looks pretty strong. Yep. So I see bees all the way across every frame. Let's check the weight. This hive is still heavy, so we may have brood down on the bottom. We may have a time getting this first frame out. It is stuck in there good. Just take it slow. Yeah, this is a full honey frame, looks like. Well, it's only full on the top. It's got pollen all right in here. And they're not happy. So I'm going to clean this top up here a little bit. Already seeing brood. Lots of drone comb here. That's interesting to see a bunch of drone comb this time of year. I've heard reports of people are seeing it though. And this here's regular worker brood. And on this side it's all worker. Having a hard time seeing in them cells that are emerged if she's gone back and backfilled. So this is what takes so long, is cleaning up this propolis. Let me show you what I'm looking at here. So this will build up in your hive, and you want to try and clean as much of that out as you can in the spring. I mean, you can leave it, but it's just going to make things difficult for you when you start doing inspections later. What happens is it starts packing between your frames when you put them back in. They don't fit together tight, and they'll start filling in the void that you don't get where it's put together, and it just keeps getting thicker and thicker. So you got to get it out of there. It's easy if you got all the frames out. You can just run your hive tool down it, but I like to take out a couple of frames at a time and do it like that. I'm sure the commercial beekeepers probably do this a different way. Just kind of get it off from where it was around that frame. And then, after you get that, so it's going to be on the inside here where that last frame was touching the side. And I just scrape it off and let it fall down below. And when I pop this box here off, I'll clean that. And then you have your frames. It's going to be on each frame if they weren't fitting together nice and tight. So you need to get that off. Got a little wood there. It's just time consuming. You can use this other end too and kind of pull it towards you, but you got to have a more force and a better grip. But you get less wood that way, and peel your wood off of your frame. Then I just kind of scrape it down here and let it fall down there. Let's see, I'm going to keep my same orientation. Don't be reversing your frames that got brood on them. It won't be the end of the world, but it messes with them a little bit. Then on to the next frame. So we've got worker brood here and drone brood interspersed. So that's making me nervous. This tells me we may have a failing queen shooting blanks, a drone layer. So we'll need to really keep our eye on this, because it's too early for a queen to go mate. I don't see a queen on there. Hopefully she just decided springtime I need to lay some drone brood. Usually this time of year when you see drone brood, they're putting it down off the bottoms of the frames. And that's where they'll start putting swarm cells as well. So there's no drone brood on this. So that was to the outside of the brood chamber, so I think we're probably okay. I'd like to see some eggs though and some larvae, and I haven't seen any yet. All I see is capped brood. There's a little bit of drone right here. That's just an empty cup. So I try and put this down here, this propolis, when I scrape it off where I won't step on it. Because man, that stuff sticks to your shoes. You'll track it in the house and your wife will skin you. I wouldn't expect to see that queen on this frame. You know, as strong as this is, I bet she's down below and there's brood down there. Because it's so full of honey up top. Here we go, here's some larvae. As Cayman would say, some larvae. Right in that spot, you see the white in there. They're not quite capped. So we're good. I think I forgot to clean that last frame off maybe. No, I got it. So these bees are a little grumpy, but they're not too bad. They're not just hammering me. Got these little bridges here, trying not to squish bees and catch them up in that. Try and clean those up. We might see the queen on this frame. From the looks of that last one. No, this is going to be all honey. A little bit of pollen there. This is a big old honey slab. Both sides. This hive did well over winter. They didn't consume a lot of honey. They had a lot to start with, probably. So I could, if all these are going to be honey, I could start moving some of this to other hives. Give them more space so they are less apt to swarm. Yeah, look at all that. I'm not even going to look for queen on this frame because it's all honey. I'm not going to mess with this right now as far as manipulating frames. I didn't bring any of the old ones with me, which I can run up and get them, that I took off those other hives last week, because I could put some of those empties right in here. For the sake of speeding up the video, I want to get down to the bottom and see if we're going to rotate this or not. I'm going to guess not, because it's so strong. I bet there's brood in the bottom. Don't know. Get these frames here cleaned up and we'll get down there. Pretty much full, except that far outside edge is about half. This is one booming hive. I wish I'd see more like this coming out of winter. Wow, that is some kind of heavy. So you can see all the propolis I've scraped off. I'm going to kind of fling it off to the side, get rid of this bridge comb. I'll tell you what, I like what I'm seeing with regards to being able to rotate. Let's get in here. Got us an empty frame. A little bit of nectar right here, liquid, uncapped. So they may be finding a little bit out there. I think we've got dandelions starting to come in. So hopefully we see a bunch of empty frames, just like that one. And we're not. Pollen. Pollen. So what's next to pollen, you might ask? Man, these are some propolis building machines. So to answer my question, what's next to pollen, usually, is brood. I see a little bit on the next frame as well. Let's look for our queen. Larvae right here. Got my queen goggles on. Hopefully that's the end of it, of the brood. I think it is. So what we might do is pull these two up to the top, move that honey down, and go ahead and do our rotation. Because you don't want to split this up. That would put this up at the top with no bees on it, and the other down at the bottom. And it would split up your brood chamber. You don't want to do that. You want to keep all your brood together. Here's our queen, unmarked. Not a bad looking queen. She's a little on the small side. I would expect to see, you know, a little bit more plump, but she seems to be doing a swell job. Except for that drone brood, I didn't care for that. And I think that's okay. I think that was intentional, and not. Make sure I don't get her. She's right here. I think she intended to lay that drone brood. The reason I say I was on the outside and I didn't see it consistent throughout. Okay. For the interest of time on this video, I'm not going to go through all this. I'm going to pull out my two brood frames right here, and they're kind of together, so she should stay on that. And I'm going to pull them up into this box here, and I'm going to get two honey frames. Bye! Get two honey frames out of here and put them on the outside. Actually, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. That one's not solid honey, so. Oh, wait a minute. I'm on the wrong side. I want this one. Bam. And this one. So I'm going to get in the middle of my brood chamber here. Right there we go. So I got those big brood patterns right here. You see that? I'm going to put these two brood frames here, right in the middle between those. So that way I'm not splitting up my brood chamber. I'm keeping them all on the same level. And I'm going to keep my orientation right, so I'm going to turn these 180 degrees. Drop them in. I didn't see my queen there. That's okay. I'll check on the ground here when I'm done, make sure I don't see any queens on the ground. Not many bees down there. Get this one back in. So this is going to be my new bottom. So all the brood is down here and honey a little bit. I'm curious to see. I'm going to look real quick, but I'm not going to clean these. That's a lot of nectar, uncapped. Same thing. I just want to know how much space we're going to have up top. So it's not a lot. So we still need to come back to this hive because it's going to be the top. Well, you want your top empty. You don't want it all full. There's almost a full frame of honey. Same here. These outside ones are packed. Tell you what, I'm going to make a run and get some of my empty frames. I'm going to pull these honey ones out and I'm going to give them some space up here to deal with. I'm not even going to put those two honey frames in there. I'm going to get my bottom down here. So let's just take these out right now. Those are going to go to storage for now and save for a hive I find that might need fed and I won't have to give them sugar. That's going to make this easier to clean and a lot faster. We'll put completely empty frames right here. That's going to be our new top. I'm going to get it off, clean that bottom off real quick. Got us a slatted rack here. So I need to be careful because my queen might be down in here. I'm just going to lift this out of the way so I can scrape off this bottom board. In fact, I'm going to put it right there. Looking on here for my queen, I don't see her. Not a lot to scrape, so I'm just going to go with that. Because I'm kind of concerned about my queen here. I suspect she's back behind me on those two frames I transferred. So here's my reversed bottom. It used to be the top. Oh, whew, that's heavy. So all our brood's in here. Here's our new top. It used to be the bottom. And all of our honey frames are over there. Since this has got so much uncapped, I'm gonna put this on the outside. I'm gonna go get me 5 frames that are empty. Be right back. Okay, I went and grabbed a box that I had with those frames in it. And if I remember right, some of these are undrawn and need waxed, so I won't use those. And I'm going to grab one that's got a little bit of comb on it. And I'm going to put it down on the ground here where these bees are that fell off, just to pick them up. So I just set that frame down there, propped it up with a stick, and those bees that are down there on the ground will work their way up on that, and I can just shake them back off here in the hive. But for now, I'm going to get me 5 frames of comb out of here. 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. So this is undrawn or drawn out comb that the bees can do what they want. They can put honey in it, pollen, brood. This is from one of the hives that I reduced down last week. Some of that's a little old. I probably should rotate some of it out. And I do have some new frames, freshly waxed up there. So that's 2017 and 2018, 17. It looks in good shape though. It's not, you know, super dark. All right. So this hive is completely discombobulated from what they had before, so it'll take them a while to sort things out. Let's get our notch thing out of here. Put our notch to the front and up. Let's see, I want to give them a pollen patty just because. So they don't need this, but I'm going to put it in there because there's a lot of beneficial minerals and vitamins in this. It's made from Bee Pro. And I moved it further to that way because there's a few bees hanging out there because of that frame I put in that had the nectar on it. I'll knock these off over here so I don't catch them and smash them. So I want this outer cover all the way to the front so the bees can come and go and they'll have ventilation from that notch. Okay, so this was hive 7. So we'll make our notes in here that we rotated it and what we found. We need to come back at some point and mark this queen last year's color, and so we can keep track. I don't mark them. I don't mark my queens to help me find them. I mark them to know how old they are. So that kind of helps you making decisions in the future. If you see one about to, if she's slowing down, about to supersede, you might go ahead and help nature take its course and move her out a little sooner and put a new queen in. So what did we do? We looked and we found our brood. You don't want to split your brood chamber if you're going to rotate. There were some frames on, 2 frames on bottom that had a little bit of brood. So we pulled those up and then we moved the top to the bottom. So now all the bee resources are in the bottom box. There's a little bit of honey up top that I moved to the outsides, and I put in 5 blank frames. If I had not put those blank frames in there, this hive would be set up to swarm if I put all that honey back here in the top, because they would fill it up in no time and they would be crowded and they would swarm pretty darn quick. So that's one reason you want to introduce some blank frames and not have a hive that's got a lot of honey coming out of spring or out of winter, because they'll get honey bound real quick and swarm on you. That's it. That's the hive rotation thing and how I do it. So you can see why I don't get many hives inspected per day in the late winter, early spring inspections. So sun is about to set and I got one done. So I got a lot of work ahead of me. So probably about 20 more hives. So give me a thumbs up on the video and don't forget to subscribe on your way out, and we'll catch y'all on the next beekeeping video. Y'all take care.